Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Sister-wife star caught hiding secret marriage and child, judge left speechless is the kind of scandalous revelation that not only shakes the Brown family to its very core, but also rewrites the narrative fans have been following for over a decade, because the moment details emerged in court about the alleged secret relationship, whispers of betrayal, double lives, and hidden loyalties began to dominate every conversation about the family, and the courtroom scene itself reportedly played out like something written for dramatic television rather than reality, with the judge staring in disbelief as documents were presented suggesting that one member of the Brown clan may have been concealing a legally binding marriage and even fathering or mothering a child outside the known sister-wife structure, which instantly raised the question of how long this had been going on and why nobody, not even the spouses who once prided themselves on honesty and family unity, seemed to have known. The revelation, according to insiders, sent shockwaves through the family dynamic, because Kody Brown has always projected himself as the patriarch who commands loyalty, demands transparency, and insists that everyone's spiritual and legal commitments remain aligned with the broader plural marriage framework. But now, for the first time, the tables have turned, and it seems that someone else may have been playing by an entirely different set of rules, a fact that leaves both fans and legal authorities grappling with the implications, because if the marriage was legally recognized, it potentially invalidates aspects of the Coyote Pass property distribution, inheritance rights, and even prior agreements made in divorce settlements, meaning this secret doesn't just impact emotions, it could unravel financial and legal arrangements years in the making. The judge, who reportedly had to pause proceedings and collect themselves upon hearing the evidence, was said to be speechless not only because of the boldness of hiding such life-altering commitments, but also because this case touches on the very public, very televised history of the sister-wife saga, which millions of viewers thought they understood, and yet, beneath the polished confessionals, Instagram updates, and televised arguments, there was an entire parallel narrative unfolding behind closed doors, one that involved private vows, a concealed household, and a child whose very existence could alter the entire perception of loyalty, faith, and trust within the Brown family. And when one takes into account how fractured the family already is, Christine long gone and remarried to David Woolley, Janelle asserting independence after heartbreak, and Mary finding her own path after years of neglect, it becomes even more dramatic to imagine yet another spouse or former spouse stepping into the spotlight as someone who not only deceived the family but deceived the court of public opinion, because fans who once rooted for healing and unity now find themselves trying to process betrayal on a whole new scale. And while some speculate that this could be a misunderstanding, a legal technicality, or even a marriage entered into for financial protection, others believe that this secret relationship was born out of loneliness, resentment, and a desire for autonomy outside of Kody's shadow, which paints a haunting portrait of what long-term polygamy and fractured trust can do to individuals trapped within it. So in the weeks following this courtroom shock, attention has shifted to not only the identity of the spouse who allegedly hid the marriage and child, but also to how Kody will react, because if he lashes out publicly in his characteristic fashion, blaming disloyalty, painting himself as the victim, and vilifying whoever dared to step outside his control, it will only confirm the patterns fans have long criticized, while if he shows restraint, compassion, or even humility in the face of betrayal, it could mark one of the biggest image turnarounds in sister-wives history, though given his track record, many believe his anger will be volcanic. Meanwhile, Robyn Brown's reaction is particularly anticipated, since she has always been portrayed as the obedient wife, clinging to the legal marriage with Kody and urging others to stay loyal even when the family crumbled. So learning that someone else may have secretly secured legal recognition of a marriage undermines her entire narrative of exclusivity and might ignite an entirely new rivalry, one in which her own last wife standing status is threatened, not by the departure of Christine, Mary, or Janelle, but by a hidden player who now steps forward with legal proof and a child that ties them forever to the Brown legacy, and in that sense, the child becomes the ultimate symbol of truth, because unlike whispered rumors or legal documents, the child's existence is living proof that secrets were kept and lives were lived outside the cameras. And now the family must grapple with whether to embrace this child as one of their own or reject the situation outright, a choice that could define their reputations for years to come, especially as TLC producers surely scramble behind the scenes to reframe their storylines, edit footage for future seasons, and decide whether this scandal is too toxic or simply too irresistible to leave off-screen. Because reality TV thrives on betrayal, and this revelation is more dramatic than anything a scriptwriter could invent. And so, as speculation swirls, as the judge deliberates, and as fans flood social media with theories, outrage, and sympathy, one thing is certain: the sister-wives story, which many believed was winding down after the Coyote Pass sale and the family's breakup, has now been reignited with a twist so stunning that even the most seasoned followers never saw it coming. And whether this ends in legal battles, public apologies, reconciliations, or further estrangement, the phrase "judge left speechless" will forever mark the day when the hidden truth about a secret marriage and child shattered everything we thought we knew about the Browns, forcing them, and us, to confront the uncomfortable reality that even after years of televised transparency, some secrets were simply too powerful, too painful, and too deeply hidden to stay buried forever. The labyrinthine and often surreal world of TLC's Sister Wives has always presented itself as a grand experiment in polygamous transparency, a bold attempt to normalize a lifestyle shrouded in secrecy and misunderstanding. For over a decade, the Brown family has invited cameras into their complex web of relationships, financial woes, marital strife, and personal triumphs, building a brand on the purported principles of radical honesty and family unity above all else. It is within this context of self-proclaimed openness that the recent, staggering revelation surrounding one of its most prominent stars becomes not merely a tabloid scandal but a profound narrative collapse, a moment so legally and personally convoluted that it reportedly left the presiding judge in the case utterly speechless. The star in question, long a fixture in the family's unfolding drama, has been exposed for orchestrating an elaborate, years-long deception, the hiding of an entire secret marriage and the subsequent birth of a child, a deception that unraveled not in the court of public opinion but in a very real court of law, amidst proceedings so tense they transcended the show's scripted storylines. This was not a simple case of a hidden affair or a fleeting indiscretion. The scale and duration of the concealment point to a calculated and meticulously maintained double life. According to sealed court documents now partially made public, the individual, whose identity remains protected for the minor child involved, entered into a legal marriage with another person outside the plural family unit nearly 5 years ago. This act in itself is a breathtaking violation of the core tenet the Browns claim to uphold. While spiritual unions are their norm, a legal marriage bestows immense privilege, a privilege Cody Brown only shares with his first wife, Robin, a point of continuous and painful contention for the other wives. To secretly secure that same legal status with an outsider is a betrayal of cosmic proportions within their belief system. Furthermore, the marriage was followed by the birth of a child, a fact hidden from not only the public and the TLC audience but from the entire Brown family conglomerate, including their own children. The logistics of such a secret are mind-boggling: the creation of alibis, the management of a separate residence, the explanation of absences during filming and family events, and the entire hidden life of pregnancy, birth, and early childhood. This was a second, complete family unit operating in the shadows of the first, a stunning feat of deception that weaponized the family's inherent complexity as its perfect camouflage. The unraveling likely began not with a tearful confession but with the cold, hard reality of bureaucracy and finance. The world of Sister Wives is not just one of spiritual bonding, it is a high-stakes financial enterprise built on television contracts, book deals, and family-run businesses. The secret marriage and child created a legal and financial claimant entirely unknown to the rest of the family, a beneficiary who could lay claim to assets, future earnings, and inheritance. It is believed the truth exploded into the open during a bitter dispute over business finances or a contractual obligation, forcing the individual to disclose the existence of a legal spouse and child in a legal deposition to avoid charges of perjury. The reaction from the other spouses, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, when confronted with this reality in a sterile legal setting, must have been a maelstrom of shock, betrayal, and utter devastation. Their entire life's narrative, the struggles they had sold to the world, the jealousy, the feeling of neglect, the fight for time and attention, was suddenly cast in a horrifying new light. Their husbands, or sister-wives, perceived failings were not just a result of being stretched too thin between 4 women and 18 children, they were, in part, because he was actively dividing his time and resources with a 5th, completely secret family. The scene in the courtroom, as described by sources close to the proceedings, was one of unparalleled tension. The judge, presented with the facts of the case, a celebrity family built on a platform of multiple marriages now confronting a secret, illegal marriage that breached numerous contractual and fiduciary agreements, was faced with a paradox that defied easy legal categorization. This was not a standard fraud case or a simple divorce proceeding. It was the legal system intersecting with a cultural and televised anomaly, and the implications were vast. There were questions of fraud against the television network, potential bigamy charges depending on the state's laws and the timing of the marriages, and complex civil suits regarding the financial entanglement of the family LLC. The individual's defense, likely hinging on arguments of personal freedom and religious persecution, crumbled under the weight of the evidence, which painted a picture not of